So the first thing we need to do is think of what kind of materials do we have around the house. We can use lined paper, construction paper, printer paper, scissors, glue, pencils, and with that, colored pencils, markers, pens, and even crayons. Those are the traditional things that we could use to draw with. But have you ever thought about using other things to draw with? Make sure to look around your house to see if there's anything else out there that you might be able to draw with. Now for building our sculpture, we can use things like Play-Doh, and we have a recipe for Play-Doh, which we will put up for you. We have glue. We have, let's see, what else could we use? We could use food. Make sure you ask your parents before you start using the food, but just kind of think about what you have around the house. Everybody has a junk drawer where they put everything that they have a little bit of, but they don't have a lot of it. It's just a modge podge of different things. Yarn, string, and twisties. Whatever you can find to build your sculpture with, your house with, that would be a-okay. All right, friends? All right, so I looked around my house and I looked and looked and I found several things. I found tape, I have a ruler, of course I have markers, I have scissors, I have glue, I have these things, they're called bamboo skewers. Okay, of course I have paper, I found peanut butter, I found Tasty Cake crimpets, I found bread, I found Tasty Cake cupcakes. So I have things like this around my house. Okay, I also have paper and pencils and things like that as well. But I wanted to think about things that you might have around your house. So I have this kind of stuff for food. So if you're going to use food, make sure to ask Mom and Dad before you use it. Or I also have around my house Play-Doh. Now, you can make your own. We have a recipe for you to make your own. You do not have to buy anything to do any of these lessons because we are using things around the home. However, if you want to make your own Play-Doh, we do have a recipe for that, and I will share that with you later. Okay? Our next step is to look at each individual item and think, what are the shapes I see? Can I cut this? Can I open this up to use other pieces? How could I use this with these items? How can I use the bamboo skewer with these items? So that's going to require some thinking from me. And remember, we are creative thinkers and we're working with what we have. This is just an example of some of the things I have, but you may have some really cool stuff around. For example, my dad likes to work with wood. So in his workshop, I would ask him if I could work with wood, hammer, and nails. And I would build things all the time. but you have to ask if it's something your parents have. Okay? So make sure you ask before you take. Okay, I'm going to show you some of the ideas I came up with, and then I'm going to show you how to draw pieces of your house. For this one, I used those Tasty Cake Tandy Cakes, one of the cupcakes. I found some pretzels and cheese curls and Triscuits and bread. So I looked at each shape and I drew each shape out, how it would make sense to make a house out of it. And I'm going to attach everything together using the peanut butter and the bamboo skewers. So the things you gotta think about is how you're gonna keep everything together. That's the job of architects. Architects are the people who design homes and buildings and things like that. But they also have to think about what items they need to build with. So this is very exciting that you get to build something with whatever you want using the items around your house and your imagination. Okay, but remember, we are building a house that we would like to live in. I would like to live in a candy house, but I would probably eat it. Okay. The next house I built was one I built with plastic spoons, plastic forks, popsicle sticks, glue, I have Triscuit for the door, and I have bubble wrap, which I cut up. Okay. For this house, I would use glue or tape. Now, the bubble wrap is actually the inside of a package that I got from Amazon. So you have to be creative. See what you got. Now, I have a sketchbook. That does not mean you need a sketchbook. You could use line paper, back of an envelope, or a piece of construction paper, cardboard, whatever you can find to do your drawing. But make sure you draw it first so you have a plan. Because when we don't have a plan, things don't work out very well. This next house, I used a small milk carton, toilet paper rolls. Those were toilet paper rolls that we were finished. I didn't take the toilet paper off just to use a toilet paper roll. A plastic Easter egg, paper towel roll, okay, and I cut that up so I could use it better. Bubble wrap from an envelope, tape, and glue. So I drew the front of the house and the side of the house to help me figure out how it's going to look on two sides. This one I'm actually going to make with paper and tape. So I would need to figure out a way to make rectangles and boxes with paper. This is the front view and this is the side view. I would need to figure out what shapes I want for my windows, my doors, and what I would like to make the doors and windows out of. I'm going to use paper for that. Okay, this is another one. I changed them around so that people could see what's going on. But I'm going to do the top view as well. So my top view is going to have windows in it to let light in. I thought it'd be fun to have skylights. Okay. This one I would build out of Triscuits and peanut butter and popsicle sticks and paper. So I'd make these little houses and join them all together with Triscuits. This is how it would look from the top. It gets bigger the further you go back in the house. Okay, I thought that would be pretty darn cool, okay, to have something like that. But if you want to use Play-Doh, you can make a house using Play-Doh. So Play-Doh lets you get all these different cool shapes and it makes it very organic. Whereas some of the other things were very geometric. So that's what I'm going to do. I think I'm going to go back to my original house, this one, and build it. Because I think that would be really cool to have, is to live in a candy house. I'm going to show you how I drew my candy house in just a minute. All right, so I'm going to draw my candy house now. I'm really excited. This is going to be so cool. So the first thing I'm going to do is look at the shapes of the things I have. Now, all houses should be built on a foundation or a ground. So this line is going to represent the ground, okay? So that I know where to start from and build my way up. So I'm looking at the candy cakes. They have like an overall rectangular shape, but they're kind of globby on the sides. I'm looking at my bread. Okay. This bread is kind of flimsy. I might need to toast it. And if you do toast it, ask your parents if you can before you do anything. The cupcakes are pretty easy. They're round. Okay. I'm thinking about using the bamboo skewers, which I showed you earlier, bamboo skewers, and the peanut butter. I might need to go get a plastic knife to put the peanut butter on, or I could use an extra bamboo skewer. So, the front of the house. I want the front door to be a cupcake because it looks so much fun. Okay, and that's how I draw a cupcake. And we know that the cupcake looks round like a circle. So, we don't have to add this much detail, but I'm going to add detail in it so you can see. Now, your house does not have to look like mine. In fact, I want you to draw something that doesn't look like mine because that shows you have thought creatively. The next thing I'm going to do to keep that cupcake from rolling away is to add the crimpets. And they're kind of rectangular. Now, I have 6 crumpets total. So there's one. Okay, about this tall. Okay, in and out, in and out. And the way I would think about joining it is I would actually stick a bamboo skewer connecting all 3 of these. Then I have my front door, I have my walls, and I need a roof. So I'm going to take the bread, and after I toast it, I'm going to make the roof. Now, depending on how these fit together, I might need more than one piece of bread, okay? I'm also going to need to put another piece of bread right here. We can always use a plastic fork or tear it with our fingers. Now I would take a bamboo skewer and put it straight down to keep the bread from falling off, and maybe some peanut butter right here to keep it together. Okay, that's the front of my house. Now I get to draw the sides of my house because we need to see, like an architect, they draw the front and the sides and the top so they can see what's going down. So they will need to do that too. You would need to do that too because you're the architect. Okay, so I'm going to draw my ground again. Okay, here's that first crimpet. So this is where our front door would have been. Okay, so that's one of the 6. Remember, I already used 1. So whatever I have, 2, I already have one on one side, one on the other side. So remember, it has 2 walls and a back. So I have to be careful about what I use. So if I put another cupcake here, I don't have another cupcake for the back. I want to save my cupcake for the back. Okay? And I need to have a total of 6 crimpets. So I think I'm going to put 1 crimpet here and 1 crimpet here. I would add that piece of bread that we saw in the front that lays down. And then this part would be that angular part for the roof. And I would put in my bamboo skewer right here, right here, right here, so it would hold it all together, and the peanut butter as cement right there. Okay, so that's how both sides are going to look. Okay. I'm going to make my back the same as my front. So that takes care of what the front is going to look like and the back is going to look like. It'll also use up the rest of the crimpets and the cupcakes. So that way I have all my materials taken care of. So in our next segment, you're going to become a construction worker and you're actually going to build your cupcake house. Okay?